Welcome to Film Riot. Today we're talking about a few things, including the fact that Red Giant just released Universe 2.1, which is the update to Universe, obviously, and it's really focusing in on what you can do with your title. So they have a few new things like Ecto, which is sort of a Ghostbustery type thing, as they describe it, more leaning toward the horror sort of vibe from the 80s, which is really cool. Then you have Luster, which is sort of that glossy 80s type look, which I really love. Then AV Club, which is very much replicating that idea of text that you get from VHS. So if you recorded something on TV on your VHS and it degraded over time, that look that you get from that, this is sort of pushing toward that realm. Then there's Title Motion, which is automatically animating ins and outs, good for lower thirds, as they say, but pretty much anything that's a title that you need to be animating in and out, and you need to do it quickly, or just throw on something that might bring in a different idea than what you were doing manually. This is really great. Then you have Long Shadow, which is a style that we like to pull out every now and again, and this is a really easy way to get that. Usually you have to do it custom, but this is built in. Then Glowify 2, which gives a streaky sort of glow to your text, which you can use in a lot of different ways. Then an update to Holomatrix, which I use often, so I'm excited to play around with these updates. I haven't used them yet, but from everything I'm seeing, it looks pretty great. Maybe we'll show some stuff on the show at some point. Then my good friend and friend of the show, which you all already know, Seth Worley, released a Kickstarter for a product that he's been working on for a very long time. I've been seeing it from behind the scenes, and I've been really excited about what he's doing with it. It's all based around the idea of a story clock and how you can use a story clock to craft your story when you're in pre-production, getting ready to write, creating a treatment, even pretty much anything that you're doing. This is really useful. I've used it a bunch, or ideas like it, where you're just creating symmetry and how you tell your story. If you have a setup at this point, you're going to want to pay off at this point, is the idea around it. And what's great about it is it's not only a notebook that has that built into it to where you can be jotting down your ideas and figuring out where things are landing and how to structure it best, but you can also use it to dissect films that you love and writing down at what point certain things happen and then stepping back and looking how they structured the film. So there's a lot of educational value to it. It has a lot more in it than even that. So I can't suggest it enough. They're at like 31,000 on their Kickstarter right now. They've blown way past their goal. People definitely want this thing. I want this thing. I backed it. I want as many notebooks as I could possibly get. But instead of me sitting here blabbing about it, Seth put something together that explains it a little further.
This is the Story Clock Notebook. It's a notebook purpose-built for turning your ideas into stories. Picture your story like a clock. Say you're writing a 2-hour movie. 3 o'clock would be the 30-minute mark, 6 o'clock would be the hour mark, and so on. Chances are you have at least a vague idea of when some of this stuff should probably happen. So drop your ideas into those places, and now we're working with something. Seeing your story this way can quickly give you a bird's eye view of it and reveal where your gaps are. Here's a gap. So rather than filling these gaps by making stuff up and dropping in random arbitrary ideas from the outside, we can extract ideas from what we already have, using symmetry. What's happening on the opposite sides of the clock? Anything over here you can set up? Anything up here you can build on or pay off? This is a simple and effective exercise to fill the gaps in your story with relevant and meaningful material, born from what you already have. So we've designed a notebook to help you do just that. The first half of the book contains templates for studying and analyzing existing stories, with the second half devoted to developing your own. And on the inside covers, we put a bunch of nerdy storytelling resources to help guide you in your quest.
So there you go. Of course, yes, Seth is a really good friend of mine, but whether he was or not, honestly, I think this is one of the coolest things to come out for writers in a really long time. So if you are a writer or an aspiring writer, if you're currently working on a project, or if you're just wanting to learn more, I would definitely suggest backing this, getting your hands on it, because I really think it's a very, very useful tool. If you're a budding filmmaker, entrepreneur, innovator, domain.com is a place to go when that next idea hits you. When you get a domain name from domain.com, you're taking the first steps in creating an identity or vision for your brand or idea. The world's top 2 premier, most recognizable domain name extensions are .com and .net, which means those are going to help you build your brand and expand your presence online the best. Of course, domain.com is reliable, affordable, and easy to use, but they're making it more affordable with 25% off when you use the coupon code FilmRiot at domain.com's checkout. So when you think domain names, think domain.com.
Logo.
So that's it for today, which means now it's time to talk about what I've been watching. What I've been watching is the Alien franchise over again from Alien on. I just love those movies, but obviously I'm doing it because Alien Covenant comes out this week, which I'm incredibly excited about. It is my number one most anticipated movie of the year, so my fingers are very, very crossed with Blade Runner being my number two. But I'm watching Alien, which is just a masterclass in tension, just one of the best films ever made, in my opinion. I just love it so much. Aliens. Alien 3, which I think gets way more hate than it deserves. I mean, I get why people don't like a lot of things, and I sympathize with a lot of the reasons that they don't, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate just for saying that I like it, but I do. I like the movie, especially the director's cut version, which David Fincher really didn't have anything to do with. He kind of washed his hands of the whole movie because of what went on with the studio, and that's a whole other interesting topic. But again, I get why people don't like it, but I personally loved it. I love Prometheus as well. I think that's a fantastic film, although again, that one gets a lot of hate as well. So I'm curious, what's your favorite films of the Alien franchise? We're just going to go ahead and leave out Alien vs. Predator. We'll just leave that out of the mix entirely. So just 1 through 4 and Prometheus. What is your favorite in order? I pinned a comment below with mine, and that's it for today. Until next week, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.